Hi, my name is Nella and we're back in the Untitled kitchen. Today we're going to be making some turkey gravy or poultry gravy. So in front of me we have our basic ingredients. We've got some celery sticks, we've got some carrots, large onions, we have some flour, olive oil, some wine, some cranberry sauce, some salt, tomato puree, we've got some garlic cloves and some peppercorns, we've got some smoked rashers of streaky bacon, we've got dried sage, dried bay leaves, we've got some dried mushrooms, butter, a turkey drumstick and some chicken wings. So let's get cooking. Okay, so I've got my roasting tin here. It's just my Sunday roasting tin. It's got quite a heavy base to it. You want something that's quite sturdy because we're going to be popping this on the hob later on and we're going to be making our stock. And I've already started here, I don't know if you can see, but I've already started putting my vegetables in the pot. I've got my onions, they've gone in cut in half, but I left the skins on. The skins are going to help add some colour to your gravy. I've roughly chopped my carrots and also my celery. I've added my streaky bacon. I tend to use smoked bacon because I prefer the flavour of smoked bacon. It's entirely up to you. I've also added in my garlic. I've left that whole and I've also left the skins on. This is just going to add another layer of flavour to your gravy. It's not going to be overly garlicky, but just adds another note to your gravy. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to pop in our chicken. So in my bowl, I've got about 6 chicken wings. They're readily available from the supermarket. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut them up and pop them into my pot. They're relatively easy to prepare. I'm just quite literally cutting into the joint and it's fairly straightforward to do. Now you can use this method for making just a normal poultry gravy or obviously for your turkey. I'm not the greatest fan of powdered gravies because they have all sorts of additives in them. I have tried buying freshly made gravies, but again there's a funny flavour to them, so I just tend to make this and just bung it in the freezer and just bring it out when I need it. I say it's fairly easy to prepare, so hopefully you'll have a go. I've got about 6 chicken wings here, and I've also got my turkey drumstick over there as well, which will add to the pot. Okay, so this is the last of my chicken wings. Okay. Now I've got my drumstick. So it's quite a big beast. There's not very much I'm going to do to it. I'm just going to cut some slits into it just to help it cook quicker. Ideally, I just want this to impart some flavour into my gravy. There's nothing worse than having a gravy you can't actually taste what it's supposed to be a gravy of. You know, you do get some just sort of plain generic gravies, but I want this to be a turkey gravy. So my drumstick's going to go into my roasting dish, and now I'm just going to add some seasonings. So in this bowl I've got some dried sage, and I'm just going to sprinkle that over the top. Here goes my dried bay leaves. I've got 3 there. Just going to add a glug of olive oil. I'm not bothering with extra virgin because you don't really taste the difference when you're cooking with olive oil. Just going to add some seasoning, just a little bit of salt. And I've already got some black peppercorns into my tray as well. I'm just going to give this just a good mix just to incorporate all of my ingredients. And the last thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to add some butter into the pot. Just going to stud it into the turkey and then just around the vegetables. So this is going to give it a lovely kind of buttery flavour that you would associate with having a roast turkey. So then we can see that we've got everything in the pan now. All I'm going to do is pop that in the oven and I'm going to let it gently cook. I'm going to check it in about 45 minutes and just see how it's doing. So next time you'll see it will be when we check it next. Okay, so we're about 45 minutes into the cooking time, so we're just going to check, see what's happening in the oven. Okay, so it's looking pretty good. Everything looks like it's cooked. Let's have a quick. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm going to take this out of the oven, and the next time you're going to see it is going to be on the hob, and we're going to start the next stage. Right, okay, so the pot's now on the hob. I'm just going to put the gas burners on their lowest settings for the time being. Okay. I don't need this turkey drumstick anymore. This was merely for flavouring, so Mr. Burble's going to be very happy when I give them this later on. Right, so you can probably hear my pan is sizzling away here. So what we're going to do is we're just going to create a nice stock from the ingredients we have here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add in my mushrooms. Now I've just popped in some boiling water into these, and they've been steeping for about 10 minutes. So I'm just going to bung these in. I'm just going to give them a good old mix around. Now I am wearing a gauntlet on my other hand to hold on to the pan. There's nothing worse than holding on to your pan with a tea towel. Your tea towel catches fire, or your tea towel is wet and you burn yourself, and I'm forever burning myself when I'm cooking. And my arms and hands are covered in little scars. So as we're just moving the vegetables around, we're just loosening all the nice little crispy bits at the bottom. And those are all the lovely little things that are going to give us some lovely flavour. Okay, so that's coming out nicely. Okay, so I'm going to add in a glass of wine. Now we're going to add this in at this stage, and what we're going to do is we're going to just cook off the alcohol, just so we're left with that lovely background note for our stock. So I'm just going to turn the heat up a little bit, give it a quick mix. But as that's evaporating, it smells absolutely amazing. I'm just going to grab a potato masher. This is my potato masher, and I'm just going to go in. I'm going to just start crushing everything. I'm just going to start to give everything a good squish and help all the flavours release. So the only thing that I've actually taken out of this pan is the turkey drumstick. I've still got all the chicken wings in here. So the chicken wings are lovely and cooked, and they're going to start adding their flavour to this gravy. This is why it's so versatile. So if you did add the turkey, this would make a lovely chicken stock. It's one of these things that you can just do in advance and just bung in the freezer and just bring out as you need it. Right, so the wine is evaporating. It doesn't kind of smack you in the face now as you put your head over the pan, which is a good thing. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add in some tomato paste. Now, tomato paste is just good, again, it's just going to add another depth of flavour. So I'm just going to pop in about a dessert spoon into the bottom of the dish. And I'm just going to cook this out. I'm just going to stir it in. There's nothing worse than adding tomato puree to a dish and not cooking it out. The cooking it out just changes the flavour. There we go. And at the end of the day, you want a nice flavoursome gravy. We're not trying to make anything tomato soupy or anything here. Everything that we're adding is going to add a little layer of flavour. Right, so that's nicely incorporated. So I'm happy with that. I'm just going to turn the heat down a little bit. Right, so the next thing we're going to add is some flour. This is going to thicken up your stock. It's going to make your roux. So I'm just going to add a tablespoon at a time. Don't worry about lumps at this stage, because at the end of the process we are going to sieve the gravy into another dish. So don't worry about it too much. And all we're going to do is just going to work that flour into all the vegetables. As I say, this is going to create your roux, and it's going to thicken up your gravy. It's one of these things, if you've done once, you won't be afraid to try it again. And you might decide to make a beef gravy next time and use beef bones instead of your chicken. Now, I don't know if you can see, but this is thickening up nicely at the bottom, so I'm just going to add some more. Okay, so I've gone in with another tablespoon, and to be honest, you want to judge it for yourself. It's really going to depend on how many ingredients you've got in your pan. I'm going to obviously give you the details on the website as a guideline, but obviously feel free to alter it as you see fit. You might want to change the flavours of your gravy, but this is coming together nicely and it smells amazing. But we're just cooking out the flour as we go, and it's sticking to the vegetables and to the chicken. I'm just going to go in with another one. And again, we're just going to cook this out. So my heat is quite low. I've got it on the lowest setting, and I've got it across 2 gas burners. I've actually got no liquid in the pan. It's just kind of the juices of all the vegetables and the chicken. And I say, once this is all cooked out, I'm just going to add a little bit more flour, and then we're going to add in our liquid. Right, I'm just going to add in the last of the flour. I think that should be enough to thicken it, so I'm quite happy. So I'm just going to work this in, just cook out the flour. And then we'll add in our liquid. Now the liquid that I'm going to be adding is just boiled water. It's just water that I've boiled in the kettle. It's got no additional stock, it's got no salt, no flavourings, nothing. It's just going to be the water and what's happening in the pan that's going to make your gravy. Okay, so I don't know if you can see what's happening in my pan. I've got a lovely gloopy, vegetably chickeny mess here, and this is going to be the basis of our gravy, which is quite scary, but it does come together. And I can't see any lumps of flour, which is a good thing. Right, so I'm going to go in with my water. Now just be careful when you add it, if you can add it in one go like I am. There we go. Okay, so that was 2 litres of water. It's gone into my pan, and now my pan is now swimming with water. So I'm just going to stir this, and we're going to bring it to a simmer, and we're going to let it do its thing. Okay, so this has been simmering now for about 10 minutes, and it's starting to thicken up, which is what you want. So I'm just going to give it a stir. You don't have to stir this constantly, because obviously we've added the flour and we've mixed it in and we've made a roux using obviously all the vegetables. Don't feel that you need to stand here and stir it, because you really don't. Just pop the water in, get it to a simmer, and just let it do its thing. So it's been about 10 minutes. I'm just giving everything a stir just to make sure that nothing's stuck to the bottom. And we're going to leave it another 10 minutes and just see how it's reduced and how it's thickened. And all we're doing now is we're just thickening up our gravy. This is the basis of our gravy, and we're just going to let the pot be, and we're back in 10 minutes or so. Okay, so another 10 minutes has passed, and I'm just going to check on the gravy. The liquid is reduced nicely, and I'm just checking to see if we've got any sticky bits on the bottom, and we haven't. It's all lovely. So everything seems to have thickened up, so I think that we're at the stage where we can start to sieve this off. But before we do, I'm just going to check the seasoning. So just try a little bit of it. It just needs a little bit of salt. So just season to taste. Okay, so I'm also going to add in a spoonful of cranberry sauce. It just lifts the flavour. It's a bit like when you add dark chocolate to a chilli. Obviously not on 90-day SSS. You add a little piece of dark chocolate to a chilli, it just completely transforms the flavour. Not in a bad way, it kind of makes it richer without doing loads to it. It's very difficult to explain, but let's just stir this in. And then we'll just try it again. The thing with food is if you've got to taste it as you're cooking it, because otherwise how do you know that it tastes good? Never trust a cook that doesn't taste their own food. It's very strange. Well, I think that's really well mixed in, so let's just give that a taste. I need a fresh spoon. Okay, I'm really happy with that. So I'm just going to take this off the pan, and we're going to start to get ready to sieve this. Okay, so we're getting ready now to start to sieve our mixture and make our final gravy. So in front of me, I've just got an ordinary sieve. I've got my favourite jug from Pampered Chef. No sponsorship is here, by the way. And I've also got a jug in the background. I'll just wave that there so you can see. And that's going to house all of my bits and bobs at the end of each ladleful. So I've got my ladle, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to start to ladle this into the sieve. And just get all the goodness out. So once you've got to this point, you're practically home and dry. You've just got to sieve your mixture before you cool it and freeze it. So just help it along a little bit and just give your vegetables a bit of a press. And you're squeezing all the last of the good bits out of it as well. So once the liquid has stopped flowing, just refill it and just give it a press and just keep it going. Once your ladle, or once your sieve has got full, just tip out all the bits into your wastage bowl and just start again until you've used everything up. Right, I'm just going to fill up my sieve for the third time with my gravy mixture. Just be careful not to burn yourself on your pan. It shouldn't be too hot now, but you never know. I always think that things have cooled down enough and then I go and burn myself again. Right, so I'm just going to help this along again. Just press this through the sieve. It goes through quite quickly. Now I'm just going to have a quick look at my bowl, and I think I've got about a litre here already of gravy, which is pretty good going. So it's enough for Christmas dinner and for leftovers. But I'm just going to keep going until I've used everything up, and then we'll be back to see the final finished gravy. Okay, so I've got my finished gravy now. I've ended up with about 1.5 litres of gravy, which I'm delighted with. It's a lovely consistency. I'll check the seasoning and I'm really happy with it. If you wanted it a little bit thicker, then obviously you just reduce it for a little bit longer until you're happy with its consistency. And just so as you can see, this is what I'm left over with from the stock pot. Everything's been sort of mashed down to a pulp, and we've quite literally squeezed the goodness out of it, and that's all gone in to make our gravy. So I hope you can see how really simple it is to make a turkey gravy or a poultry gravy, and I really do hope you give it a go. Thank you for watching.